Welcome to Cyber Bytes, your weekly dose in the latest in cybersecurity news. I'm your host, Edwin Kwan, and today we've got a packed show covering supply chain attacks, espionage at a global scale, and some creative phishing campaigns that even Apple's infrastructure couldn't escape. So let's dive right in. Our first headline is being described as the largest NPM supply chain attack in history. On the 8th of September, security researchers uncovered that 18 popular JavaScript packages were compromised, and this included Chalk, Debug, and NC Stars. If you're a developer, chances are you've used these libraries, and if not directly, then through some dependency down the line. Together, they're downloaded over 2 billion times every week. So what has happened is that attackers trick the maintainer with a very convincing phishing email pretending to come from NPM support. The email threatened to lock his account unless he updated his two-factor authentication credentials. Unfortunately, he entered his details on a fake login page, giving the attackers the keys to his account. Malicious versions of these packages were then published, designed to intercept cryptocurrency and Web3 transactions right from client websites by redirecting funds to attacker-controlled wallets. The malicious packages were only live for about 2 hours before being taken down, and this is thanks to rapid responses from companies like Wiz, Sonatype, and Aikido Security. But because these libraries are foundational, some researchers estimate the code may have already been propagated to nearly 99% of developer environments that use them. This attack highlights one really uncomfortable truth. The modern software ecosystem places enormous trust on individual maintainers. When one account gets compromised, the ripple effect can be catastrophic. Expect to see new calls for stronger identity checks, automated malware scanning, and safer package publishing processes in the months ahead. Now to the geopolitical arena. Western governments have just gone public with what they call China's most ambitious cyber espionage campaign to date, an operation known as Sword Typhoon. This campaign has reportedly been running since 2019, targeting over 80 countries, compromising telecom companies, stealing text messages, voice calls, internet traffic, and even political campaign data. Security agencies say the operation may have touched nearly every American citizen's data. That's right, the scope is being described as indiscriminate and unrestrained. High-profile targets included political figures like President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance during the 2024 U.S. elections, along with officials from governments worldwide. Attackers also reach deep into critical sectors like transportation, hotels, military contractors, and ISPs. It is believed that Sword Typhoon was orchestrated by multiple China-based tech companies working on behalf of military and intelligence agencies. One US cyber official even said that this proves that China is positioning itself to dominate the digital battle space. These campaigns built on a history of major Chinese hacks like the OPM breach in 2015, the Microsoft Exchange compromise, and the Marriott Hotel incident. Now, Sword Typhoon takes that playbook and scales it to a global level. For individuals, this is a pretty chilling reminder that if your data is online, it's probably in someone's crosshairs. Up next, Ghost Action, one of the largest GitHub-focused supply chain attacks we've ever seen. Discovered on the 5th of September by GitGuardian, the Ghost Action campaign compromised 817 GitHub repositories across 327 developers, stealing a staggering 3,325 secrets. Everything from NPM tokens and AWS credentials to GitHub access keys and Docker Hub tokens. The attackers pulled this off by injecting malicious GitHub Actions workflow. These workflows were designed to scan existing configs, identify which secrets were in use, and then exfiltrate them via HTTP posts to servers under attackers' control. This wasn't some mass spray and pray attack. It was precise, tailored, and it showed deep understanding of developer workflows. While so far no major malicious packages have been released during the stolen tokens, the risk is far from over. Those credentials could still be leveraged to distribute backdoor software, compromise private repos, or even breach cloud infrastructure. This attack shines a light on how developer pipelines are prime targets. If you're a developer, make sure you audit your secrets, rotate your keys, and lock down workflows so attackers can't turn automation against you. Alright, so let's switch gears from massive espionage to more consumer-facing risks. Cyber criminals have found a clever way to abuse Apple's iCloud Calendar feature. Scammers are sending phishing messages that look like they come directly from Apple servers, giving them instant legitimacy. The emails often claim to be receipts or urgent account issues. When the victims follow up, they're urged to call a fake support number, where attackers will try to trick them into downloading malware or handing over account credentials. The scary thing here is that traditional security solutions struggle to block these messages because they are being sent from Apple's trusted infrastructure. The lesson here is that if you get a receipt or notice that you weren't expecting, don't click the links or call the number. Instead, access your Apple account directly through official channels. And finally, one that flew under the radar but raises huge red flags for internet trust. A Microsoft Trusted Certificate Authority called FINA-CA was caught misissuing 12 TLS certificates for Cloudflare's 1.1.1.1 DNS service. To put this in plain terms, TLS certificates are what let us trust we're actually connected to the website we think we're on. If a rogue authority issues a certificate for a service like Cloudflare's DNS, an attacker with the private keys could intercept millions of DNS queries, decrypt them, and potentially redirect users to malicious sites. Now, Cloudflare says there's no evidence the certificates were abused in the wild. FINA-CA claimed they were issued for internal testing only, yet they still did so without authorization. which is a serious breach of protocol in the certificate authority ecosystem. Now, this incident highlights the fragility of the trust system that underpins the internet. One slip, one abuse of authority, and the whole chain can become a vector for mass surveillance or man-in-the-middle attacks. And that's it for this week's episode of Cyber Bytes. From massive supply chain compromises to global espionage, the threats keep evolving, and so must our defenses. Until next time, stay alert, stay safe, and remember, in cyberspace, every byte counts.